so this will be available. If anyone has any concerns about that, please, you may want to step off or manage that way. So I think you can say hello and welcome everyone. My name is Julia Cooney, and I
Why don't we get Fanta when we go there next time?
hi, can we ask if anybody's on? I apologize, I didn't mute everybody. If you can put your phone on mute, that would be great. Thanks so much, because I know this may be the dinner hour for a few families. Welcome back from winter break. Hope everyone had a nice break, a chance to, well, enjoy the snow if you were here local with the snow. So we're looking forward to our agenda this evening. We have, we're obviously going to cover a little bit of PTA business update. We're delighted to recognize some students and recognition and awards, just some general announcements. We're going to take a little bit of look at what some of the teachers and students are doing, and then Kyle's going to spend Kyle and our two assistant principals, Mike and Delois, are going to take us through senior activities, and then a fair bit of time on the back to school.
You really should.
Hello?
Sorry.
You might want to put yourself on mute if you're on mute. Terrific.
This group is Lucille, Mark Siegler, and Minato.
Okay. All righty. So this is our agenda. If there's additional, we'll do Q&A at the end, and look forward to covering a series of topics with everybody. From a PTA business update, the financials are always on the are on our website, on the Seaholm. If you go to the Seaholm website.
Return plan.
On the Seaholm website, and you can take a look at our financials, the money that we've gathered to date. Thank you all for those who are members and have participated by becoming a member and providing funds that way, as well as funds to the PTA. We are looking at, as you know, we've done a number of teacher grants. There may be a few more teacher grants coming in, and then we're working with Kyle to identify if there is some other needs within the school that are not being covered by the bond. So we're going to be working with Kyle and the administration on some of that. So there'll be a follow-up to that to come up. Please know there's a PTA Facebook page, and Andy does a great job providing wonderful information on the Facebook page. So if there's things you want to know of what's going on, that's where you can often find it, as well as obviously on the PTA web page on the Seaholm site. And then we are, I think we're just going to move on. I think we've got a great Kyle. Do you want to jump in? I'm going to see if I can find you and give you control here.
If you wouldn't mind giving control to Delois and Mike, if they're on here, they're just a little more tech savvy, and we're going to share some of the slides that we have today on some student recognition. And I just want to again thank everyone for coming tonight, and thank you for having me, and thanks for the wonderful work that the PTA does in really having a path to communication to our community, and we really appreciate the support, both financial and emotional and social, that we have established through the PTA. They've just been a wonderful, wonderful partner as we move forward, especially in these difficult times in a pandemic. And it's just so wonderful to be able to come to you every month and talk to you and share information about what's going on at school, and receive your input and your questions. I really do appreciate that. We want to be as transparent and as open and direct as possible. And I understand and really value the role that communication plays in that, and that the PTA has really facilitated. And I want to thank Maria and the executive board and all of the parents who come and participate in our program. I also want to thank the other administrators who are here. I know Delois is here. Mike should be here. If he's not here right now, he's putting Bradley down for bed. And so he should be here, and they'll help with showing the slides that we have of some of our students. And we're pretty excited about sharing that information, because despite this pandemic and the difficulty it has has brought upon us as an educational institution. We have students who are doing absolutely marvelous things in their lives, both academically, athletically, and in the arts. And so talking with Julia, and we've been sharing some of that on our Seaholm Facebook, thank you, and the PTA Facebook. And we want to bring that again tonight. We won't spend a long time with that because we've shown it in different places, and even the board recognized some of that last night, not all of what we have today. And it's not a matter, there are lots of things that are going on, lots of students that we want to honor, and we will be doing so moving forward. If we could show Delois or Mike, if you could go ahead and if
I'm
we
going to
could
stop
share
sharing mine, and I have given Delois ability to share.
Okay.
And when Mike joins, I can do the same. If he's here, then I will give that to him.
Okay. So if you just share the screen with everyone, Mike and or Delois, I can see you. And then I also want to thank, as she's getting that onto our screen, I want to thank Kathy, my assistant, who's here today, who always comes and really makes things function at Seaholm. She's in charge of our website. She answers the questions. She really knows what's happening over at Seaholm. And I see a lot of our staff here who are parents as well in the community, and it's great to see you here too. And thank you so much for being both a valued staff member and a valued parent in the community. So we have a variety of students. This is a little picture of one of our students. This is Audrey, and she is a student who has she won and broke the state record for our track team this year. We're really, really proud of her, and nominated for MHSS Athlete of the Year. She is doing just some wonderful, wonderful things. And we're really excited and pleased to see her name up on our record board, and really hoping and you'll see her again at our senior awards, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. We're just real proud of her, and we've got them separate. I mean, Suzanne put these together for us, and the next one.
Can you see the image on the screen, or is it not showing?
We see Audrey, but can you go to the next one now? Okay.
I thought I did. Let me see.
All right.
Thought I did. Can you?
Nope.
Okay.
It's all right. Okay, and here are our students, some of our students and Grove students who participated in on the debate team. They have done phenomenal work, and I just am so proud of students who are continuing their work even under virtual circumstances like the Zoom. And so our students here are competing with the Groves team as well. They were honored last night at the board meeting, and we're real proud of them. Okay, and the next slide. This year we have 4, and this is an amazing number, quite frankly, of presidential scholars. I mean, this is one of the highest awards given in our state and the nation. So 4 of our students, Tate, Ashley, Valerie, and Jacob, who have been nominated for the Presidential Scholars Program. This is a rigorous program, truly exceptional work by these students. And we couldn't be prouder of how they have really overcome so many challenges in a virtual world to demonstrate their just their sense of academic scholarship, their character, all of those things combined to make these students just our top students in the state. I mean, truly an exceptional honor, and we're looking forward to seeing where they go in terms of after they've been nominated and see if they're accepted. If they're accepted, they'll be going on to Washington, D.C. for a program, and they'll actually get to go to the White House and accept an honor. So this is truly an exceptional honor. We have not had this many students receive this honor in years. So it was just a wonderful year for us for that. And we're just real proud of these 4 students. And of course, our girls swim team. I know we've probably honored them. They've certainly been out on Facebook and everything, but we thought we'd say one more congratulations to our girls swim team. Very proud, the 2nd year in a row that they earned the title, the state title. So it's worthy of a repeat of congratulations to those wonderful swimming women. And so congratulations to the girls. It's so funny to see them with the masks on, right? I mean, with the swimmers. And these are our scholastic winners. And I'm not sure, Delois, if we have, there was a video that would show some of their single work. I'm not sure if that's available to take us through at this time, or if it's just a picture of these students. But we have some students who have submitted their work for the scholastic art and writing. We have one writing winner, and we had for a poem she wrote, an excellent poem she wrote, Trinity Santa Ana Sutherland, and we have several students for their artwork, for photography, for drawing, just some exceptional work that the students are doing, despite not being able to take the photographs and to do the art in what would normally be their the circumstances that they could really participate and see what's out there in the world. They have nevertheless really triumphed to find ways to demonstrate and showcase their artistic side and their creativity and their innovation. And it's just wonderful to see them do that as well. So this is some of their work. I know at one point we had a little video, and I think we've shared that on Facebook as well, to showcase those students as well. So great work by some of our students, and that's only some of the work that they're doing and that they are doing. So we understand, and we wanted to showcase and congratulate them yet again and recognize them for just really persevering in the face of some of the challenges that they have in this COVID world, in the pandemic, that they still managed to really bring their talents to the forefront. So we're real proud of those students. And I think at this point, I think Julia, did Vicky Barbieri, if she is here, she was going to show us some of the work that her ASD students were doing, I believe. I see you, Vicky. Can you share that?
Sure. I'm going to bring that up. So I teach students of autism, and we are doing a micro business, and we've done this for many years, and it's actually dog biscuit treats, and it is wonderful because the kids are able to use their academic skills, but then also use that and build up their job skills and their independence. So can you see the PowerPoint? Okay, all right. So we make 2 kinds of flavors, and we make peanut butter and we make beef biscuits, and I will bring up the next slide. So the kids do all of this from scratch. They read the recipe, they follow the recipe, they bake them, they cut out the biscuits, and they package, and then we've just created an online order platform, and the students will then process all the orders. Our dog biscuits have also been sold at Premier Pets in Southfield, and so we're going to be stocking them up. So this is the website that we've created. And I'm sure the PTA can pass this on or put this in some of their information. So it just gives a little bit of the history, and you can see some of the students actually making their products. And then there is a contact information where you can go on the order form and then email those. So we were very excited to be doing this again, even with COVID and the social distancing and having to boil water or bring in water. Everything's working out great and the kids love it. There are some videos. If you have a little time, I can play a few videos. So again, here are the kids doing all of the production and the different ones, and these are all the job skills that we can now list on their resumes. Our goal is to not only have them be academic successful, but for them to create independent skills, for them to be able to have self-affirmation and be proud of the things that they do. And we also want to show them that they have the ability to also have a job so that they can support themselves. So I can play one little video, maybe two.
Hi everyone, Rohit is going to help us make our dog biscuit dough. So Rohit, what kind of dough are we making today? What is the title?
Peanut butter puppies.
Peanut butter puppers, good. How much wheat flour?
Okay, so that was one. And I can share another one.
Great job, Nick. Students like to listen to Hamilton instrumental too while they're working. Nice job, John.
That face.
So that is just a little tidbit of some of the things that we are doing with our ASD students. And it is a joy to teach them. And I always gain much more from being with them than I'm sure they gain from me. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki. And she really does an exceptional job with the students in our ASD program. And you can see, I think, that we have so many things going on at Seaholm still during this pandemic. And when I've gone to visit the classrooms, the ASD classrooms, they are very into Hamilton. I've been down there a couple times and they've been watching and or listening. And it's always a fun time to go down there and see what they're doing in that program, as well as the other programs here. We've been back in the hybrid for a couple weeks now, and it's just been wonderful having the students back in the building and really going into the classrooms and seeing what's going on. Yes, it does look different. The classrooms have fewer students, they're spaced apart. The teachers are often behind plexiglass. It is not the same, but the kids are the same, you know, and they are still wonderful, curious, interested, engaged people who want to learn. And so it's been a lot of fun. Yes, we have our challenges, and I'm happy to share those with you and answer your questions about those. But there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful things going on at Seaholm in the last couple months, and certainly since we've been back. It's just been wonderful to see the students. And I thought, I think next, Julia, we're going into the senior activities. Is that the next thing on the agenda?
That would be, yes, that would be fine. We can do
Okay.
some of the other items later on. So that would be great, Kyle, please.
Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be terrific.
All right, so we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the senior activities. I know that's on everybody's mind, certainly on our students' mind. And I want to assure you, and we really are seeing, I think, some promising impact of the vaccine, of the return to school, of maybe that light at the end of the tunnel, that we're going to be able to engage in some of these activities here at the end. First and foremost is graduation. That's a big deal. Last year, as you well know, we moved that into July. We had to delay that. This year, we are planning on having graduation on June 6th, which was the original plan. We are planning to have it right now outside on Maple Field. Generally, in the last few years, we've had it inside the gym. But I have to tell you, since I've been in the school for over 30 years, we used to have it on the field, on the football field. That's where we used to conduct graduation. Every year, the weather held and we were able to do it, and it was an exciting time. It was fun to be on the field. And so Mike DeLois and I have met with some of the senior sponsor and different people at school to talk about how that can happen. And so we do plan to have it on the field. We've talked to Aaron. We're working with a company to put a platform down so that the kids can sit on the field, which would be nice. Last year we had, as you might know, we brought them in one group at a time. We're hoping and feeling that we can socially distance them on the field so the entire class can sit down on the field and the parents can come into the stand. And so we'll keep an eye on CDC guidelines for that to see how many tickets we can give parents, but we are really, really hoping that it is going to be the graduation as usual. We plan on auditioning seniors for for the speeches. We plan on having the board there, the staff there, the band there. We really are hoping to have it as close to normal as possible. We do have a rain date in case that is we're not able to do that. That rain date would be Monday at 6 o'clock, and we'll put this in writing and get this out to you, but I just wanted to share that we are, making these plans. And so we're pretty excited about that, and feel like graduation, which is, probably, if not the most important day of our year for our seniors, it is right up there, the top three. So we're really excited. We plan on having it, and you can ask questions about that at the end if you need to. We also have our honors night. Generally, we've had that right before, like that Thursday night before graduation, because we found that some parents had family in, and so maybe the grandparents were in from out of town and would like to attend both the graduation and honors night. So we do plan on having honors night. We plan on having that in our auditorium. Again, we will follow all CDC guidelines as close as we possibly can. But we do plan on having honors night in person that Thursday before graduation. So we do plan on having honors night. And I know there were a couple questions about honors night, and if you regarding like who is honored and who is invited, that kind of thing, so we can answer any of those questions if you should have them. Generally that is by invitation, and we send out invitations to families if their student is going to be honored that night, and we generally have about 100 students or more who come to receive an honor, a scholarship. We have both scholarships and department awards that night. It's a little bit of a lengthy night, but it's definitely a fun night where we really get to showcase our students. So we will have honors night as well. We're working on prom, okay, to make sure that, again, that in part is dictated by the governor and where we are with social distancing and capacity at our venue, and we do have a venue. Mike can talk a little bit about that if you have questions about that, but we are hopeful, we're working on it, and we definitely want to have that if we possibly can. As you know or may know, Barb Hart is our senior class sponsor, but she is retiring at the end of this trimester, so in just a couple of weeks. And we have asked, and Shannon has agreed, Shannon Feliciano will take over the duties of the senior class sponsor. And so she's a favorite among our students. She was gracious enough to do this and Student Congress and all the other things that she's involved in. And I think we're real excited to have her, and she'll be working closely with the parents and the seniors as they really plan the details of these events. It really has only been in the last couple of weeks that we felt that we can say, yes, these things are going on, that we feel like confident enough that we have this information. And so they will plan the details. Some of these activities like prom and other things are theirs to own. And so so we're really wanting to have their input and to do what we can to make sure that the final days, the final weeks of their senior year are as close to what they expected in their hopes and dreams of high school life that we can possibly give them. The one that we're a little concerned about is Clap Out, okay, which has come to be just a favorite event in my experience with the seniors, and I think in the parents. So we'll work on if that's a possibility or how we will manage that kind of thing so that we can involve parents and students if at all possible. That's the one that's a little bit harder because it is such a crowded event. We bring the kids out in the hall, we all clap as the seniors go through the hall, led by a group of the band students, the drum corps, and I'm just not sure if we can really have that many people shoulder to shoulder out in the halls. We'll see how things go as we get toward that last week in May, but that is something we would love to do. We might have to just work on how we do it. The other events that we have for seniors are things like the senior breakfast, and we think that we can probably still manage that since if it's eating, we'll have to be 6 feet apart. So that's not at this time anyway. So we may do something along the lines of the senior picnic, which can be outdoors, or we are looking at things that can be outdoors as if at all possible. We don't want to cancel anything. I mean, that's part of it, right? I mean, we want to give the seniors that special time there at the end. But we'll see what we can do and what we can manage to give them there at the end. And we will work with Shannon, and we will work with our seniors and our senior parent advisors who have been just great through this whole thing and supporting us and trying to make sure that we manage to give that important experience to our seniors. So we're happy to answer any questions about senior activities at this time. Are there any questions that you might have? The post, is that clap out? Are there plans for the post clap out? Yes, we would want, generally what we would do is have the clap out and then the kids would go out to the field and have their picnic, and that's what we would like to do. And I think that we could have an outdoor picnic. I don't think that that's a problem. It's the clap out itself, with the crowd that we're going to have to kind of wait and see a little bit as we get closer to that time what is acceptable. But we definitely will have that picnic. And so it might be that those poor seniors will walk around the building, but we're not gonna have the kids clapping for them, outside in the hallways. But we definitely wanna give them that last experience as they go through the school and out onto the field, and they can definitely have a picnic. So yes, we're gonna have a picnic.
Last day of school for the seniors is the 27th of May. It's a Thursday, and then that 28th, the Friday, is senior skip day. Senior all-night party is an event that is not affiliated with the school, so officially. So I believe it is happening, though we don't have a lot of details about it. There is a senior all-night party committee that you can reach out to. I don't know the details. I assume it would be the night after graduation. But it's not.
I think we have, Mike, one or two of the senior.
Yeah, I see Linda. Yeah, Linda, I see you. Do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, we do have some preliminary plans in the works. Obviously, we too were waiting to see what was going to happen. There is a commitment to have an all-night party. How that's going to work, where it's going to be, what it's going to look like remains to be seen, but there will be information going out on the class Facebook page. and probably some email blasts about that, about lawn signs. We're getting those together to try and get those out even earlier than had been done in the past, so that the seniors can be celebrated, as they're due, with things that they haven't necessarily been able to do all through the year. We're trying to beef up the end of the year as best as we can. So people should look for more information coming out in email blasts and on our Facebook page.
I see that there was a question about Honors Night being broadcast. Yes, we will try to have the opportunity for people to kind of zoom in or see. The same thing with graduation. I mean, there may be some of our students who are not comfortable or unable to go through in person, and we were thinking we would somehow be able to show their picture on the screen and still announce them and their names. So we definitely want to make sure that our students who are choosing to remain virtual and their families are honored. It is still their senior year as well, and we want to make sure they feel a part of the community. And so we will be able to live stream graduation as well, and we will honor those students who are graduating in and prefer to do so in a virtual way. Definitely do that, and we'll manage to do the same kind of thing with Honors Night as well.
So tentative date for prom would be, so thank you, Delois. Delois already got that, would be Friday the 14th of May. And then the tentative date for all-night party would be the night of graduation, which is Sunday the 6th of June.
Okay, questions for senior activities? Again, I want to thank Linda and all of the parents who have been helping with we've met a couple times, I think, to talk earlier in the year, and now it's going to start heating up. And I really, as I said in the beginning, I think we're really looking to be able to have some of these events as close to normal as possible. And so we're excited. We're very excited about that and want to communicate that with you and with the students, and we want them to be a part of these plans. All right, if there are no more questions about senior activities. Oh, and just as they're not just senior activities, we have NHS induction coming up. We've delayed it a couple times because we really wanted to do that in person. So if you have a student who will be inducted into the National Honor Society this year, congratulations. We're very proud of our students. I was talking with Rochelle Rogers, the sponsor, the class sponsor, or the organization sponsor. She says her kids are pretty excited. We will have something in our auditorium with socially distance being maintained, and also broadcasting, or at least having a videotape of that for parents of students who are remaining virtual but are being inducted, and we'll be sure that we include them as well. So stay tuned for news about that as well. We also have quite a few athletic events going on now. As you probably heard, we're in the midst of our winter season, and spring season has been delayed just a week, but those events and sports are continuing, athletics are continuing, and so we're crossing our fingers. Things seem to be going well with that. I understand we don't have quite the crowds that we used to, and it's always difficult, and seeing the kids play basketball with masks on is just really strange, but we really are I think, hopefully on that other side, right, of where we were, where there was no one in the building. And so now as we move forward, we're hopefully getting to a time when it's going to be as back to normal as possible. So if there aren't any more questions then about events.
There is one more question. So field day, we are having a meeting with the class advisors, and I'll be leading it, trying to see what a reimagined field day will look like. So we are hoping during third try, we will have what we will call the field day. I don't know if it will look exactly like the field days of past, but it is on our agenda to try to put something together. We're hoping to use the outside areas, so we will probably have to wait until it gets a little nicer out. Though it's supposed to be 50 degrees on Sunday, so everyone could enjoy that. But yes, field day in some sort we hope to bring together as part of third trimester. Events that don't play sports and aren't seniors, field day is all four grades. So that's something that 9, 10, 11th, and 12th graders take place in. So that will be something that will be happening during the third trimester.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that because we did have field day last year because it was in the fall, obviously. And so now this would be the first year that we haven't had a field day for, I forget how long it is, but at one point, Ross Wagner was principal and he canceled field day because the kids got too rambunctious. And so he canceled it. And that was a good maybe 70 years ago or whatever it was. So this is the first year we will not have had it if we don't do something. So as Mike said, we're really hopeful that with the input of the class advisors and the kids and our parents that we can manage to do something that will give us that same kind of spirit, because it is definitely a tradition here at Seaholm. Okay, then we're going to transition into our kind of back to school information. And right before we do that, I'm going to ask Delois and Mike to give a report that we surveyed our students. We asked them several questions about how things are going in the hybrid form. So they're going to relay some of the, their thoughts and results of that survey. And then we also had invited the students to come and meet with them, met with Delois and Mike to have an in-person focus group to talk about how things were going. And so I'm going to ask them to share that information before we get into the final back to school information that we can relay at this time.
Oh, so you want me to go, Mike? So we met with the seniors, and they're really just great kids. They were, some of them were very excited about the return to school, but then at the same time, it wasn't the same as school was previously. So there was some disappointment. They would like to have a classroom full of students, and, in reality on their cohort day, at the most, there could be, 10 students in a class, there could be 5 students in the class. So they are really wanting that interaction with their classmates. They all seemed okay with all of our safety protocols. They all seemed to really not mind that part of it. A lot of them were appreciative of the hard work that the teachers put in to not only give a lesson to those that come into the building 2 days a week, but also continue the lessons on Zoom all the time for those that are either not there or not there, have not come back into the building. Some of the students would like us to kind of reconfigure the way we have lunch. We do have lunch in 2 very large areas with 6 feet between the students. And some of them wanted to have a way to, try to have lunch more with either more people from their grade or more people they were familiar with. So they were giving suggestions as to how we could reimagine lunch and still maintain the safety protocols that go along with that.
A lot of our
go ahead.
A lot of our upperclassmen really would like to return to the open lunch. So our juniors who were dreaming about it all last year when they were sophomores, and our seniors who, essentially they say, Mr. Wicker, I'm sitting in the gym like an elementary school student next to a freshman, where I should be out with my friends. And, and they understood why we were doing it, but they did share their frustration with it. And one of the questions on the survey actually point blank said, is the lunch policy affecting your decision to attend school? And while not every upperclassman responded yes, many of them said, I would rather just stay virtual and be able to go out to lunch with my friends whenever I want than come to school and sit in the gym or sit in the cafeteria. And as Delois mentioned, our underclassmen who know they can't go out still would, we put students in different areas and there no cross-contamination. So you might be sitting in the gym with 70 other people, but all of your best friends are in the cafeteria or vice versa. So that was one of their concerns was, hey, can I just be in the same room as my friends? And, but as Phyllis pointed out, the kids were pretty positive for the most part about it. And they don't like the
Right.
one-way hallway.
Yeah, well, no one does. But in terms of lunch, the input that we got from the students moving forward, I think it's important, and I would like for us to kind of think about some creative ways to, as we move forward into the new plan, as we get that solidified, that maybe we can do some things at lunch that might be helpful for the students, that they can be with their friends, at least their class. And so we're thinking of ways to be creative with that because of their input. So we really do appreciate the input that we have. We do have to maintain we have to maintain a seating chart. We have to do all of those things, but can we possibly say the freshmen are here, and then the freshmen get to know each other, or moving forward, could we do some of the seniors are here, and so that they do get to be with one another rather than with the random underclassmen. So we're trying to think of ways that we can make lunch a little more palatable, no pun intended. And so that was helpful. It's helpful to hear the kids. What I find so fascinating is that the most important thing to students, I think from the time you start elementary school and through high school, the most important thing of the day, and I know you as parents know this, is lunch. Okay, like who am I sitting with at lunch? Who has my lunch? Who, and it's just, we see it every year. We work on it. We try to do things with lunch, but it is the one time the students get to, be with their friends, and it's hard. It's hard as parents, I think as well. So for some of your kids, right? I mean, I remember when my kids were in school and getting like a panic, like I don't know who my lunch. I don't have anyone I know in lunch, and there was just that panic there, and it's hard as an adult, to watch your kid go through that kind of pain. And so this has just made it doubly difficult. So we're going to talk a little bit about lunch when we get to the return. Anything else that the kids shared, Mike and Delois, that you feel you want to relate?
It was interesting. Some kids shared opposing frustrations. Like there was a couple students that said, the teacher really focuses on the kids on Zoom. So when I sit in the classroom, I feel neglected. And other kids said, no, they focus all the kids that are sitting in the classroom and I'm on Zoom and I feel neglected. So there isn't a perfect situation for that. So it was interesting for them to hear each other feel like they had opposite situations going on.
Mike and Delois, it's Julia. Could you explain how many students you spoke with, or was it a survey, or was it a direct one-on-one? Just to give a little background as to how you kind of conducted the surveys and focus groups.
Yeah, so
Sure,
it was both. It was a survey, and Mike, would you say we had about 250 or 300 responses to the survey?
After the teachers get a push, we got almost 400 kids responded to the Google survey.
That's outstanding.
And we set up a sign-up genius for students to come to the discussion. And we had 50 spots opened, 27 students signed up, and 23 of them showed up. And that was a representation of all 4 grades, though it was a little upperclassmen heavy to remind us how important open lunch is.
Thank you.
We have met with our student advisory. We have a student advisory for each of the classes, and we've met with them previously too to get some of their input. And we try to encourage that whenever possible. And we just really enjoy hearing from the students, but of course they're very involved in their classes and their athletics and the things that they need to do as well. So we appreciated the time with them, and we've had a couple of events that we had with them. We also had a civil discourse that we had after the incident in the Capitol. We had quite a few students. How many students were involved in that, Mike or Delois? Do you remember?
We had probably throughout each of the 3 sessions, somewhere about 75 or 80 students.
Okay, so we again offered a couple sessions, and it was a sign up. Genius students could come if they wanted to meet and talk, and Barb Hart ran those as the AP government teacher. And one of our, of course, our school improvement goals is promoting civil discourse. And so it really took on some new meaning after that, and the students were engaged. So the students, they will come if they're interested and they want to relay something to us. And on the other hand, I think that we have noticed, and I think the teachers will tell you, your admin will tell you, that we have noticed that our students are struggling. Some of our students, even our best students, are struggling with the format of the Zoom, as we all kind of do. That it's hard, sometimes harder to engage. I was in a classroom right before vacation, and I was invited to a classroom to talk about life in the 70s, okay, high school in the 70s, and what it was like as a female going through that push in equal rights and things like that. And I was talking away into this class and enjoying it, and I looked and I said, "Oh my!" I said, "Are you in bed?" You know, like, and the kid was. She was snuggled up in bed. She was listening, you know, and I thought, wow, you know, this is really interesting. And so it's hard for our kids. You know, it is a new world. And I, more than anyone, and this is probably a good segue into returning to school. Okay. We need our kids back, and we want our kids back. And it's not that I don't think they can learn in bed, but I think they need to you know, to get up, get dressed, and come to school. And so we are looking forward to that on March 15th. And I wish I had more answers for you, but we know the board has voted and reaffirmed even last night that we will be back on the 15th. And we say the 15th, that's the third trimester. And that will happen. Now, whether it will actually be exactly on the 15th, because currently we're working with the teachers to make sure we have a schedule, okay, a good schedule that everyone's agreeing on, and that we have also that transition period. Every time we've moved into a new stage, a new phase of return, the teachers need some time to facilitate that in the classroom. And so the contract says that they have another 2 days. And now I don't know exactly when those 2 days are going to be, but most likely they will be the 15th and 16th. That is a good guess. Now we'll see what happens with that, but third trimester, we are coming back face to face, no cohorts. And so, like I said, well, I can't tell you the exact schedule. It's being worked on between the administration and the BEA. We are all very invested in making sure that we have a schedule that's going to work for you. And we are going to be most likely sending that out very soon and getting some input from you on what it is you would like to see. The issue is that coming back full-time, face-to-face, without the cohorts, is not going to allow us to maintain 6 feet of social distance. And that's probably one of the biggest things, right? And the thing is, we have to have 6 feet at lunchtime. That's the law, okay? We can't have kids taking off their masks and just eating, all right? We have to maintain that 6 feet. In the classrooms, we will not. We will maintain about 3 feet. And we will have the plexiglass shields up for students. So that's what, one thing that you need to know. It is still going to look a little different than it does now. We'll have more students in the classroom, but we will still have the teachers kind of behind the plexiglass. We will actually now be putting plexiglass on desks and tables for the students. We will try to maintain as much as possible 3 feet apart in the classrooms. Because we do not have the capacity at Seaholm to have all of our students come back at lunch. That's the biggest problem. So we've been working with the board and with central office to say, we really need to either have an open campus for lunch for the upperclassmen, go back to that, or we need to have a schedule that does not include lunch. And so those are the things that we're working on now. I just want to be fully transparent. It was mentioned at the board last night. So I'm sure I can share that with you. They just haven't come to a conclusion about that. We've had this meeting set up for a while now. I was hoping to have the answer, okay, but a selection form, a survey, or a selection will be coming out to you to make a choice of whether you want to come back to that environment or not, okay? So I think that that's an important piece of information that you all need to be aware of as you consider and make that decision. The 3 feet, even though the CDC recommends 6 feet, we're going to have 3 feet. And what does that mean? Well, that means that if a student should be tested positive for COVID, that the students surrounding him will be quarantined along with him or her, okay? So that is that is what's going to fundamentally change. Right now, we are maintaining 6 feet. So if a student should be testing positive with COVID right now, we can assure that the parents of the surrounding students that he or she has not been exposed because they have not been within 6 feet. So that's changing. Now we will have a quarantine program, that we'll have to do more contact. Well, we always had to do contact tracing, but it's going to impact families in that there might be more quarantining taking place. And so those are information that you need to have as a parent, I think, as you make your decision of whether you want to come back. You will have the option to live stream, or students will have the option to live stream in at all times, okay? So we are looking to make sure that your decisions are made with the amount of information that you have. We don't, as I said, have a schedule set up yet because we're still determining that. But we have heard your interest in maintaining maybe a little bit of a delayed start. So it could be that we're in the schedule we are in now with the delayed start, or it could be that we have to start at 7:30, if we're doing a schedule that, say, for example, has no lunch provided at the school, and then the students would go home for lunch. So these are the things that they're working out, they're hashing out right now between the BEA and admin to make sure that you have a sense of what it is you're signing up for when you come to school. So we've been doing that. Masks will be worn by everyone, okay, at all times. That's continues to be a requirement. And students will be asked if they will not do that, then they're going to be asked to stay home, because that is an option. If you don't want to wear a mask, there's there is the option to stay home and go to school in a virtual manner. We do have things right now like a one-way hall and that kind of thing. We will see. We're going to, as we said in the beginning, as we started enacting some of these rules, which ones are working, which ones we might need, we might be able to do away with. We've all talked about the one-way hall, which we just are not sure it's particularly working because it's just difficult to enforce. So it might be that we won't have that one-way hall, but we will be sure that everyone is aware of the rules. The students are aware of the rules as they come to school. So I'm going to go ahead and ask if you have some questions now, because it'll be easier for me to answer the questions than to just provide information. And again, we'll do our best to answer your questions, but some of these decisions have not been made. And I know you're thinking, as I have been thinking, oh my, this is March 15th and it is only 2.5 weeks away. But we'll be ready, okay? So we've already gotten some of our furniture back from storage and we'll be starting to move that. We have to get our desks back from BCS and some different places. They're ordering more furniture to replace that. So we're in the process of doing it. So we will be ready, but I might not have the particulars of details for you yet, but I'm happy to do whatever I can in answering your questions.
Our first question is about the deadline for telling families about when those 2 days are. I believe the answer to that is that's being negotiated between the union and the school, like central office. We would like to know the date as soon as possible so we can tell you, but it unfortunately is not a date that we at Seaholm get to set. Unless, Kyle, you have more insight on that one.
No, that's very true. Like I said, I think personally the probability is the 15th and 16th because we have final exams before that. I can't imagine it would be then, right? And I think the point of the transition day is to have it before you start. It would also give us some time to get those rooms set up because we will have time because final exams are virtual. So we will have some time then to set those things up. And, so I'd be happy to answer any questions about that.
We have two questions that are of the similar note. If you choose to come to school, can you still live stream if you are homesick? And if you initially stay virtual, is there any opportunity to opt to face-to-face once we see how things are going?
The answer to the first one is yes, you can always opt to stay home and feel like you're not well enough. We certainly, in fact, we encourage you to keep the kids home when they're sick. That's probably one of the biggest things that we're learning with this particular pandemic is we need to stay home. So please be sure your child stays home if he's sick, and then if he's well enough, if he's not feeling terrible, then yes, we want him or her to access the live streaming. The other is if you say you're going to be virtual, can you come back? At this point we do not allow that because we're trying to figure out spacing and where we are. Okay, so we can't do that with it changing too much. So I would say that if you have any thought that you may want to come back, face to face, that you opt into that, but you can always stay home if you need to. And that's hard for me to say too, because I really would like to know our real numbers on this, but I understand where you're coming from as a parent, like what I might feel this way in March and this way in late April. And so I understand that. So opt into then being able to come back and then make a decision that's best for your family.
And so when will parking passes be available for purchase? Will they only be available to juniors and seniors?
We're working on that now. We should have some communication coming out about that soon. Parking passes will be available for juniors and seniors only.
Anticipating a lot of travel over spring break, would there be any consideration of given to moving everything virtual for a week? Or is that just a personal choice?
I think there is a district that's doing that, and I was kind of intrigued on that myself. But at this time, no, we have not discussed that or I have not been any meeting where they've discussed doing that. We would be coming back after spring break. I think it would be helpful, okay, to a parent to make that judgment call and the student. I think I had a department chair tell me today that some of the kids are talking about that. As the possibility of students maybe that are going on spring break. If they're going out of the country, they have to quarantine when they come back. If they go within the country to Florida or something along those lines, which I believe a lot of students are, then it's up to them. But I guess I would say, let's think long and hard, depending on your behavior over spring break, about what you feel about in coming back. And that is, again, that's not something at this time anyway that we're going to dictate, but I would hope that everybody would, be wise and think about that, when they return.
Next question about if we don't have open campus lunch, can we set up tents?
We don't have the tents right now. I know that there was actually some discussion about from PTA about purchasing tents, but I want to think about that because tents, then we would have, are they heated? I mean, it snows in April, come on, in Michigan. So I just don't think that's comfortable. I have to tell you that if we don't have open campus and or no lunch, I just don't know how we can fit our students. As it is, we're using the gym. That means gym classes. Okay, we give them a third of the gym. We're going to have to expand that just for the 9th and 10th graders. We need to be able to fit in. We're planning on the possibility of having 85% of our students back. Because we don't know right now because we haven't sent out the form. But we're thinking this is what it looks like at the earlier grades. Okay, so this is what we're going to plan for so that we're ready. That means we've got the numbers down and we've been through all those spaces in the building and looked at lunch. And we need to be able to seat, we think about 600 students per per day, like 300 at each lunch, a little over 300. And we don't have any other space that we can give them that's 6 feet apart that we can still supervise. And so I'm telling you, I really strongly believe this, that we cannot do this without open lunch or a schedule that does not have a lunch. A tent is not, even a tent, how many can we fit in a tent at individual tables 6 feet apart? So, and where would we pitch the tent? And so it's just, and in the next 2 weeks, okay? So it's just not feasible. And I just want to be really transparent about that. Mike DeLois and I have had these conversations. The staff has had these conversations. We are not comfortable, okay, saying that we can do it, that we have the capacity to do it. So that's
and Kyle, it's Julia. I suspect that, to your point, you either have to be able to have students, juniors and seniors, go off campus for lunch, or have the revised schedule. And then it really becomes the student and the parents' responsibility that those who do go off campus stay safe.
That's right.
Right, and that's really part of what we have as an obligation as parents, is to make sure that our students, aren't reckless, so that when they leave campus, if that's what happens, and then come back to campus, that they're staying safe.
That's right.
That they're containing a bubble and they're wearing masks and they're doing those things they need to do. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Julia. Yes, that is something we're relying on the parents about. There's always, been a bit of that question, and parents have to make that decision. Not all of our juniors and seniors go out to lunch. So that's, in effect, we're going to have to make room for them as well if we go with an open campus. And that's why we're thinking, as I said, before, is there something we can do for those students who are juniors and seniors and choose to stay on campus? Is there some place that we can put those students? We'll work for that. We'll work hard to do something along those lines. Or you have to make the decision, as you said, as Julia said, to make sure the kids are safe and they're doing the right thing and acting wisely in the 40 minutes that they have for lunch. Yeah. And so that's a piece that, again, is an individual choice on your part.
Well, and I don't think we as parents want to see, I'll speak for myself, a whole group of students finding themselves at the honey tree, all on top of each other, having lunch and then coming back to school. So we as parents have to send some pretty clear messages to our students about how to make this work in a really positive way. And if that means, as a junior or senior, sitting in your car with your one friend who's in your pod having lunch in the car, then maybe that's part of what it is, just so we give some good direction, I think, to our kids about they want to get back and we want them back. And lunch is that big challenging event that everyone has. Either they go in, I think what you're saying, Kyle, is they could go in at 7:30 and be done at 1, and then go home and have lunch, but they probably might not like that. So these are the options they have, and they've got to follow it to make it work. Yeah.
That's right. And so we'll see where that decision goes as the BEA and the and admin have those further discussions and the board makes a decision. All of this is pending on the board approval, and we appreciate that. And they've been very, I think, open and direct at the board meetings that they're considering all of these options, and they're listening. They're getting input from the teachers and from admin and saying what is safest, because safety is priority, but also safety includes a student's emotional health and mental health and social health. And we know that the social aspect of high school, for the majority of our students is crucial. And as we just said, and lunch is an important part of that. And we think that that's important too. We definitely recognize that is an important part of being a teenager in high school. And know too that some of our students who are virtual students are thriving in this atmosphere as well, in this environment. There are some students who are enjoying this. They're enjoying not having to worry about lunch. And so it's interesting to see the dynamics of all of that. And I can only imagine, because my children are grown now, what it's like to be shepherding a child through this. And so my deepest, heartfelt sympathies in many ways are going out right now, because I know, it's not easy.
Well, I think we as parents, Kyle, we recognize what you and your team and the administration are trying to do the very best that you can in a pretty fluid and dynamic situation where you don't always know, right? And you are you're beholden to the board and to the CDC and to the state, and so there's only what you can do within the parameters that you're given. And I know as a one parent, I appreciate the effort that you and the administration and the teachers are making, because it's a challenge on a day in and day out basis.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Next question, will kids who refuse to wear masks or wear them incorrectly, such as under their nose, be kicked out of class?
Yes. Okay, this is a non-negotiable. And so a teacher will tell the student to wear it correctly first, okay? And if that happens again, we'll call the administrator down to the room. The administrator will have an administrative consultation with the student. If it happens again, the student will be suspended. And if it happens again, the student will be told he must go virtual. So we are not accepting. I mean, I see it in the hallway sometimes, as a kid's mask. And so we'll tell them. I've gone on the PA and reminded the students, put your masks up. For the most part in the classrooms, the kids are doing a pretty good job with it. I really do think so. I really do. I mean, this has not been a major concern. We've had a few blips, okay? And even with staff, okay, we've had a few blips. But it's very few. I think really for the most part, really 99% of the students and the staff are following that guideline.
I think that's all the questions that I see. Delos, do you see any in your chat?
I think that's it.
I think we're all good.
All right. Well, I want to again thank you for the opportunity to meet with you. This is truly important to us, and I appreciate everything that you're going through. We truly care and about our students and want to do right by our students. We're working as a team, both in the administration and our staff, our secretaries, our paraprofessionals, and our teachers. We want to do the best we can. We are all individuals and human, and we all have different philosophies sometimes, but we're trying to come together and do what's right for our kids and our community, and we want your input and value it. So if you think of something, and then you want to shoot us a question through email. Or
there was one more question that I missed about shields in the auditorium for flex students.
The flex students in the auditorium will be able to do social distancing, further than we can at the desk, but we don't have a way to put a shield between each chair, but we'll work on something, because if they either have to be 6 feet apart or there has to be some type of shield between them. So we'll be working with that. I was just talking to Jeff and Bernie, who are making these shields, and literally they've got every kind of shield imaginable. Okay, but for now we would work with the flex to make sure that if they're in the auditorium setting, that they would have 6 feet apart. They'd be 6 feet apart and or have some type of shield in between the chairs. And I don't know how much group, the auditorium's big and they get it to themselves for first and second hour. So we can definitely spread them out 6 feet when they're together in the auditorium. When they're in the classroom, of course, they'll have them on their desks.
So there's one other question about bathroom use. As it stands now, the bathrooms are still off limits during hall passing time, and students just ask their teachers if they can go, where they go during lunchtime. I haven't heard of any issues with that, and we have not made any final decisions as to what the bathroom use will look like when all of the students are back.
Right. Currently we've not opened all of them. We'll have to consider, we'll have more kids and where they are, but it's actually kind of worked so far. And we've had some issues with some of our bathrooms, as you know. The good news is one of the bond early jobs. This summer will be a new bathroom across from the Little Theater, which is nice for any events that are in the Little Theater. And I have to say, we insisted, we were pretty vehement on a bathroom because that's what one of the biggest complaints of our students were. But just as an aside for a water update on that, I know that you've probably seen several emails coming out about the water situation. We are in the midst, we had an original test. I think I just sent this out yesterday. We had for the Legionella, and it came back positive for Legionella. We had it chlorinated. It reduced it, but there was still quite a few positive. They then worked on scrubbing those individually. We are working on getting those retested to see how those are. So, and we've also started installing filters. We've got filters in the showers now, which is nice, so that we could have, the swim team can shower and our PE classes can have a swim component going forward in the third trimester. But we'll be getting more and more of those filters. But until we will let you know, we still don't want anyone drinking the water. So we offer bottled water in the main office. We try to have it also down in the athletic area, but students can come by and get a bottle of water. Staff can get a bottle of water. We encourage you to send, kids with their own bottle of water, but we can't drink the water. But we are putting filters on the priority places like the kitchen and those kinds of things. So we have worked with our teachers. We've had several meetings with the health department. They are aware of what we're doing. They agree with what we're doing. They're supporting what we're doing. There's been a little bit of, maybe not controversy, but some disagreement on how to proceed in cleaning. But there is agreement that it needs to be cleaned. And so we're just, tapping into the experts at the state level. But while I would not drink the water, okay, I certainly, I feel comfortable washing our hands. It just makes a mess because they took the aerators out, okay? So when you wash your hands, it does spray everywhere. But, we're working on, I know, it's like, oh my goodness, can something else? The power went out today. And I was like, no, we can't continue this, so, but we do, we do. We go through it. I mean, a garbage truck blows up down the street, doesn't matter. We're ready to go.
Question, is there a specific COVID coordinator who is responsible for contact tracing? Does each class have a seating chart?
Yes, good question. Great questions. Yes, the administrators, the three of us are responsible for the contact tracing. We are the ones who ensure that there is a seating chart for every classroom and lunch. Okay, and we do have a seating chart for lunch as well. We even do, some of the classrooms have a Google form for their seating chart. They come in, the kid puts in, his desk number. The desks are numbered. Okay, that will be even more important as more students come into the classroom. And because potentially our mitigation is quarantining. And so we definitely have, all teachers are keeping seating charts, and we are as well. We will continue the protocols of taking the temperature. One change will be that we are going to ask students to clean their desks. Because as we have more students in there, it's harder for teachers to clean all of the desks and still maintain social distance and that kind of thing. So we are going to ask students to clean their own desks unless they have some specific allergy to the cleaning solution. We will be providing you with that information. If your child is has some kind of allergy to that, we totally understand, and we will clean that desk. Or if he needs gloves to come in, that's fine too. But we'll work with you and we'll give you that information. But we are going to ask students to clean their own desks, but we will be still continue to take temperatures. If a student is found to have a temperature of over 100.3, he will be asked, he will be taken to our what we call our wellness room, and you'll be called to have to come pick him up and take him home for the day. And then, watch for, symptoms and have some medical documentation upon return. Okay, so those are things, information that's been out, but we'll reissue it. Okay, because as I said, coming forward, it's going to be even more important with more and more students coming into the building. And so we'll make sure we provide you with all of that specific information detailed, and it's on our website as well. So you'll have access to that.
There was a question about food service, about whether students will still be offered free lunch during Tri-3. I think as much as possible they will be. Kyle, do you have any more information about that?
Yes, they will be offered free lunch through June. Okay, so students, so I'm not sure, you know, yeah, and they're, right now they're boxed lunches because they have to be made, you know, without water off campus. And I think, you know, they can be assembled on campus, but we have, they're basically boxed lunches and or made without the water, with bottled water. So but they are free of charge through June. This was something promised by the federal government. And our students take advantage of it. Some of them, like, even if they bring a lunch, then someone, like, because we'll have extra lunches at the end of a lunch, and someone say, yeah, I'll take it, you know, so yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, Kyle and Mike and Delois, thank you so very much. I think we've covered all the questions and important information. This will be recorded, and this information will be posted. This video will be posted both on the Seaholm webpage under PTA, as well as on the PTA Facebook page. I won't change the screen, but I did want to make a couple announcements. The Birmingham Education Fund, BEF, is doing a fundraiser. They typically do an in-person event, and this year it's going to be a virtual, and it is on March 11th. The funds that are donated, the ticket sales and so forth, go to scholarships and to the schools and to your students. And this year it's called BCS Got Talent. And so they're really looking for students, teachers, parents even, from any of the feeding schools to participate in the event. I think it could be really quite fun. There's also a live auction, and the money from the live auction also goes to the BEF and to their funding that they do to the schools. So please take a look at that. We'll have some things posted on the Facebook page and on the website. Please consider attending. And again, that's March 11th. Wanted to say a huge thank you to those parents who have contributed to the First Friday. Heidi got creative and said people could Venmo her, and then she would buy the gift cards, and we've had some amazing contributions by parents. The teachers really get a kick. They really love, I had one teacher say to me, I've never had my name selected. So hopefully we'll cover a few of those individuals, but we've got, I think, over 20 gifts that'll be distributed for March, which is just outstanding, and that's wonderful. Our teachers really appreciate it. We're going to put some extra energy onto Teacher Appreciation Week when that comes, because we know the amount of time and effort that the teachers have put in. This has been an extraordinary year for our students, most certainly, but certainly for our teachers as well. And so we're looking forward to that. So, and then again, any other information you can generally find out on the PTA website within Seaholm. If there's any feedback that you'd like to give to us, comments, things that you think we need to be doing, aside from we can't debate CDC and public health rules, but aside from that, we're here to be as supportive to the parents, the teachers, and to our students. So I don't think we've got anything else question-wise, and I just appreciate, again, Kyle and Delois and Mike making the time to be here. I know we had a couple of the senior parents. Linda, thank you for giving some insight on what we've got going on the seniors, and as a parent of a senior, I'm excited to see that we may have an opportunity to do some in-person events. And I do know one of the things we will also look into is what some of the individual classes are looking at. Obviously, there's a lot of focus on seniors in their senior year, but certainly focus, and there's parent representation for the freshmen, the sophomore, and the junior classes, and so we'll see what they have up. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Stay healthy.
Yep.
It's warm out there. It's 55, so I don't have to say stay warm. Thank you all for attending. Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.